How to fix Valorant Custom Resolution HC bug on AMD. Welcome back to Teknobalta. If you are running an AMD graphics card and trying to play Valorant on a custom stretched resolution like 1440x1080, you have likely encountered a severe refresh rate override bug. During our investigation, we discovered that Valorant aggressively forces your monitor to its absolute maximum refresh rate, bypassing your custom AMD settings. For displays that experience artifacting or horizontal lines at their maximum frequency, this forced override makes the game completely unplayable. Teknobalta's analysis revealed that this is a complex handshake error between Riot's Vanguard, the Unreal Engine display scaling, and AMD's Adrenalin driver infrastructure. Today, we are sharing our exclusive, exhaustive diagnostic process to completely eliminate this refresh rate override. After running extensive hardware and software diagnostics in our lab, we have compiled the definitive technical sequence to lock your monitor to your exact desired refresh rate. Let us dive directly into the core system repairs. Our primary testing showed that the AMD Adrenalin software often fails to register whole numbers correctly when handing them off to the Windows desktop window manager. To bypass this, open your AMD Custom Resolution panel and input a fractional refresh rate like 164, 2 or 164, 5 instead of a flat 165. This fractional data point forces the engine to recognize the limit as a distinct, non-native profile, successfully preventing Valorant from overriding it to the maximum ceiling. If the fractional frequency fails to hold, the issue lies within the monitor's blanking intervals during the custom resolution creation. Inside the AMD Custom Resolution menu, locate the Timing Standard dropdown and change it from automatic to CVT-reduced blanking. This specific timing protocol minimizes pixel clock transmission overhead, creating a much stricter hardware profile that Valorant cannot easily manipulate or override. Teknobalta's diagnostic team identified a direct conflict between AMD's internal GPU scaling and the game's native engine scaling module. Navigate to your AMD Adrenalin display settings and completely disable the GPU scaling toggle. By shifting the stretching workload directly to your monitor's internal scaler, we remove the driver-level vulnerability that allows the game to aggressively push the refresh rate up. Directly alongside the GPU scaling option, the scaling mode itself dictates how the aspect ratio is mapped to your active pixels. You must ensure that the scaling mode is strictly set to full panel rather than preserve aspect ratio or center. This absolute full-screen projection aligns the horizontal rendering with the exact refresh rate instructions you provided in the custom driver profile. When driver-level overrides fail, we must hardcode the parameters directly into the Unreal Engine configuration matrix. Press the Windows key plus R, type local app data, and navigate to the Valorant saved config folders to locate your GameUser settings. EDID file. Open this file in Notepad, locate the resolution refresh rate variable, and manually change its value to your exact desired target, such as 165. 00000. Riot's client is notorious for silently rewriting configuration files upon launch, which instantly deletes the manual refresh rate we just configured. Right-click your newly modified GameUser settings. In EDID file, open its Properties menu and check the Read-Only box at the bottom. This essential security step physically locks the document, ensuring the game engine is forced to boot using your customized rendering parameters. During our advanced hardware analysis, we discovered that Windows stores hidden EDID profiles that secretly report the maximum hardware capability back to the game. Download and run a tool called Custom Resolution Utility. Select your active monitor and look at the extension blocks at the bottom. We tested this fix and confirmed that manually deleting the highest refresh rate data block forces the operating system to forget that the maximum limit even exists. Simply deleting the EDID block in the Custom Resolution utility is not enough. The Windows graphics subsystem must be fully rebooted to register the hardware change. Navigate to the folder where you extracted the utility and run the Restart 64 exe application as an administrator. Your screens will flash black for a few seconds as the display driver forcefully reloads the newly restricted refresh rate ceiling. Variable refresh rate technologies often ignore static custom refresh limits to prioritize maximum frame throughput. Open your AMD Adrenalin software, go to the Display tab, and completely disable AMD FreeSync Premium or Adaptive Sync. By severing this dynamic communication, we force a static pixel clock that respects the lower threshold you established for your stretched resolution. We found that if the Windows desktop environment operates at a different refresh rate than your custom Valorant profile, the game will attempt to bridge the gap and trigger the bug. Right-click your desktop, open Display Settings, proceed to Advanced Display Settings, and manually lock your desktop refresh rate to match your target. Synchronizing these two environments eliminates the transition shock that defaults the engine back to the maximum frequency. Microsoft's built-in full-screen optimization wrapper frequently intercepts exclusive full-screen commands, injecting incorrect refresh rate metadata. Locate the Valorant Win 64 shipping exe executable in your Riot Games installation directory, right-click it, and open the Compatibility tab. Check the box labeled Disable Full-Screen Optimizations to grant the game pure, unfiltered access to your custom AMD display parameters. In that exact same compatibility window, click the button to change high DPI settings and check the override box at the bottom, setting the scaling to be performed by the application. Teknobalta testing showed that Windows scaling algorithms can distort the pixel aspect ratio of stretched custom resolutions, causing the monitor to panic and revert to its factory default maximum refresh rate. Corrupted visual caches can cause the graphics driver to loop back to known, safe hardware defaults during the loading screen. Open the Windows Disk Cleanup utility, select your primary installation drive, and check the box exclusively for the DirectX shader cache. Deleting these temporary compiling files forces the AMD driver to reconstruct the display pipeline natively with your newly restricted constraints. While beneficial for input latency, the AMD anti-lag feature aggressively manages frame pacing at the driver level, which can destabilize custom blanking intervals. Navigate to the Graphics tab within your AMD software and toggle anti-lag completely off before launching Valorant. We have verified that isolating the display pipeline from supplementary processing features vastly improves the stability of non-native resolutions. If all previous modifications are failing to hold, your Windows registry is likely clinging to ghost display profiles from previous monitor connections. Open the registry editor and navigate to the local machine system current control set enum display directory. Deleting the subfolders here and restarting your PC forces Windows to generate a completely fresh, uncorrupted handshake with your monitor's newly restricted hardware limits. As a final, definitive system repair, the foundational display drivers must be completely eradicated and rebuilt from scratch to wipe out any residual scaling conflicts. Boot your PC into safe mode and utilize the Display Driver Uninstaller application to completely wipe all traces of AMD Adrenalin software from your registry. Upon rebooting and installing the latest drivers fresh, immediately configure your fractional custom resolution before any background applications can interfere. By executing these advanced hardware overrides and configuration edits, you have successfully stabilized your custom stretched resolution without pushing your monitor past its visual limits. The artifacting and horizontal lines caused by forced maximum refresh rates, should now be completely eliminated from your competitive gameplay. Don't forget to follow Teknobalta for more.